Hi everyone, this is AC7WH and welcome to my ham shack. This is where I do my backyard ham radio. So I'll take you on a little tour for the inside part, and then I'm looking forward to sharing the outside part in an upcoming video where I'll hopefully be able to show you how I anchor my portable antenna with a tripod, and also the antenna with it fully extended, and a little bit of the surroundings in my backyard. But for today, I want to take this opportunity to show you how I make this ham station work with very little space and a lot of portability. So first of all, it is just all on a Uline utility cart. I hope to include links in the description of this video where you can see that down below and see what I actually purchased. Not that everybody's going to want to do it just like me, but maybe it'll give you some ideas. All right, up above I've got the Ameritron AL811H amplifier. That's what I used for making most of my contacts. Although I have it disconnected right now because I want to send that to either the amp repair guy or possibly sell it as is, because it certainly works, but I can tell there are some issues with the grid current not being positive when tuning. It goes from negative to moderately positive readings, even though the output has been around 500 or so watts. It should be more like 800. I have, of course, made lots of great contacts with it, but I would want it to be in full working order if I continue to use it. All right, with that, I've got my ICOM IC7300. I have a nice cloth to separate the transceiver from my Palstar HF Auto so that I don't scratch up the chassis or scuff it up in any way. And let's see how we have this hooked up above. Notice what we have here on the power cable. Those chokes set up nicely. That's from Palstar. That's the way it comes from the factory. And then back behind here, I've got my ground connection. Now this is a chassis ground. I'm going to include a video at the end of this one, a video link, as well as in the description, so that you can see how ground is a completely different concept than what many of us have heard over the years. In any case, I have the ground strap going over here to the antenna tuner. Now that is longer than it really needs to be. Ideally, you want to have the shortest possible ground strap. However, at just several feet long here, it's not really resonant on any of the frequencies that I'm normally using. 6 meters, it could be getting close to more resonant as a significant fraction of a wavelength, but perhaps in the future I will invest in a smaller strap, but definitely check out that video. Now when I have used the amplifier, I have used another ground strap where I could go from the back of the amplifier over to an outside ground. However, I have found that that is not really necessary. I'm going to move this card out a bit so you can see. Now, this strap here is one that I used to use, and I think it's 10 feet long, and I would run that out the back door, just out there onto the cement, not a ground rod. I know that's a completely different setup than what would typically be recommended. However, I just wanted to make sure, going by the old school way of doing things, that any RF was being brought out of the shack. However, I found out better And now I am beginning to do things a better way, and as we hams do, I am continuing to learn more and more. Now down below here I've got my Coax and my ground radials, and then an RCA type shielded cord that is used for connecting the transceiver over to the amplifier for that relay connection so that it triggers the transmit. But in any case, as I mentioned earlier, that is not connected. Now, one thing I want to show you here, with this power supply, there is no ground connection for the power supply. And that is an MFJ unit. You can find out more on my QRZ page, but an MFJ 4035 MV. I really like the features of it, except for one thing here. Keep in mind, there's no chassis ground. Look at this. There is not even a larger or smaller sized prong on the plug. No third plug for ground or neutral or whatever. No larger size. It's just the same size on both prongs. No third one. How's that for a power supply, huh? So thankfully I haven't noticed any issues with it, although I have seen a video where there was mention of how you can end up having all sorts of voltages come through when you don't want them to. So that is a supply, though it works fantastically. I can adjust it and for the voltage, and I have connectors that work great for me, multiple types of connectors there for the main DC output, and then a utility automotive type plug, and also multiple connections for accessories and all of that. That works great, other than the fan noise can be loud at times, but the fact that it's not really grounded for the electrical power, that is quite an interesting decision that MFJ made. So I am considering getting another brand sometime, but for now it's done what it's needed to do for me, and we shall see how things go going forward. But yeah, it's certainly interesting. But in any case, oh, I will give you a quick little peek at my chameleon antenna down there. Very small, very lightweight, but then it goes up to 25 feet when fully extended. And then also there is my SWR watt meter that I would use for tuning up the amp. I have it in its box right now. And then I've got various instruction manuals and references printed out and so forth. Even have my little tool there and the bubble wrap for when I put in the anchor point for the tripod. The tripod is not right here. I have that elsewhere. But again, I hope to share more about the outside and how I set things up out there in a future video. But for now, thank you everyone for taking a tour of my shack with me, and I hope to share more about this in the near future. You all have a great rest of your day, and 73.